Welcome, everybody. Dan here on behalf of the Language Weavers team, which is a working group organized by Transition Network International. This will be a short video on how you can get involved in the Language Weaver program and bring more language justice and accessibility into the movement. So what are the Language Weavers? It's a working group to develop processes that enhance language justice and enable the TNI, Transition Network International, ecosystem to share communications, so updates about things that are happening in the movement, invitations to events, funding opportunities to share proposed workshops or to contribute to some of the offerings that we're putting together, including practicing transition in 10 minutes and the potential to host a webinar. And the intention is to have this be coordinated. So we have a coordinated central group and also decentralized. So there is collaboration with hubs and volunteers from different language communities to enable the sharing of information in different languages, both from TNI to the different language communities in the movement and from the different language communities to TNI to share updates and celebrations and invitations from around the movement. So ways you can support, we are specifically looking for volunteers to support with translating and sending invitations and updates to or from your language community, volunteers for interpreting live events, and especially events that might be interesting and beneficial to your specific language community, and supporting to enhance channels of engagement. So spaces where different language communities can gather and exchange in their mother tongue. And more information on that later. So this is the process for translating, sending information. So we have in the Venn diagram TNI, so Transition Network International, which will be the comms representative and representatives from the circles that organize events such as Cultural Transformation Circle and Practicing Transition, in a group with the different Language Weaver volunteers, which will kind of be coordinated and supported by the more central Language Weaver team, which currently is Mel, Gaenko, and Frederick and myself from different language communities. And as we see here, the small circles are the volunteers from different language communities. And we hope that this will enable any languages in the movement that want to receive information in their language and have volunteers that are willing to support to be able to receive updates and invitations, and also, again, vice versa, to share their updates and invitations to uplift the beautiful work they're doing and to spread more widely invitations about events. So this is an example of the flows and an example of the process. So yay, there's a new exciting event happening and an update about an event that's being organized, a big workshop on imagination and visioning practices. So the TNI comms person who has this information would share a message to the email group and or the group on a maybe a WhatsApp group or something where people are, where the different volunteers are. So they'll receive the information, and then the Language Weaver volunteer from each different language community would translate, potentially using DeepL, just a quick initial translation, and then fix the grammar and contextualize to whatever region or language you are translating into, and then to send to your language community, and vice versa, information coming from your language community, translating and sharing with TNI. And the commitment we are requesting for volunteers is 3 to 4 hours a month, totally asynchronous, so no need to come to any meetings, and an optional meeting if you'd like to have a 30-minute check-in, how's it going, and kind of onboarding into the processes, which are really simple. And it's very easy to sign up. I'll show you in just a minute. And we're asking people to sign up for 1 month, or if you have the space and interest, 2 or 3 or as many months as you want. But no, 1 month is awesome. And the tasks, as I mentioned earlier, receive text from the Language Weavers team, or from the central team, use DeepL for initial translation, edit style and grammar, and share with your wider community. And why are we doing this? Simply more connection, less time and effort. So through coordinating and having one representative per month, for example, from the French language community, so there's one person that is able to translate all the information and updates and invitations to the entire French community. So each hub doesn't have to do this on their own, each group doesn't have to do this on their own, but there's one representative that, through volunteering 3 or 4 hours in a month, serves the whole community and enables more connection. And you'll see here a link to a volunteer spreadsheet, which I just clicked. And on this spreadsheet, you'll see there's a how-to, and this is translated into English, Spanish, German, Japanese, French, and Portuguese, and we invite any language group to translate these directions into your language and to add a tab for yourself down here. And I need to move my image. So you'll see down here we have Spanish, French, Dutch, or German, Japanese, Portuguese, and a template for any language group to copy and create their own tag. So language name. And people can sign up for what month they're able to volunteer for. So if I'm in the Spanish language community and I'm available to help in June and September and January, I would then sign up and put my contact information. And with this contact information, then a representative from the kind of coordinating team would reach out with next steps and directions. And it's completely asynchronous and simple to follow processes. And back to here. So that is how you can support with translation. And next is a call for interpreters. So these are some upcoming practicing transition sessions. We just had the workshop today, actually, with Lisandra, which was beautiful and in Portuguese, and a really wonderful session. And if any of these events interest your language group, if you think, and you could even potentially ask, what events would you be interested in attending, to get a sense? Because we've had the experience in the past of getting an interpreter in a specific language and no people show up from that specific language. So a little coordination could support. And say there's interest for healthy technology in September from the Portuguese language community, then you could look and see if somebody would be willing to volunteer to interpret that. And one person volunteering to interpret makes it possible for all others in that language community to access. And as you'll see here, there's a link to the same spreadsheet that we just checked out, and it brings you right to tab 2. And this has the name of the event, the date and time, the speaker's language, and then for people that are interested in interpreting, you can just sign in here. So these are the current people that have signed up to interpret, and say you want to interpret this into French, you could say French, and the person would share their name and contact info here. And then somebody from our team will reach out and coordinate with you. Okay, and last but not least, we are organizing a session, the Language Weavers team, to share about this process more in depth, and also to have a space for the different language communities to meet in breakout rooms and coordinate their efforts. So we would love for you to join if you are interested and able to volunteer and support, or are just curious to hear more. And please reach out if you have any questions.